Okay, let's look at the real-world example of how to use Prometheus to build a ChatGPT integration for an app. I have this microjournaling app and I want to build a really cool integration for it called Freud, which will read the entry and extract sentiment, mood, and emotions from it and present it to the user as a small summary and also plot it over time. In order to do that, let's open the Forge playground and create a new prompt. Let's call it Freud sentiment, or Freud emotions. You can choose the platform you want to use. In the future, we'll have more options. For now, it's only OpenAI. The mode and the model. Let's go with the most powerful one and fine tune it. You can set the temperature to 0 to get objective outputs. You don't want to have any creativity in this task. You can also hover over the different settings to see what they do. You can add a stop sequence if you want and give it a system message. And then we construct a prompt. You can minimize this with blocks. And first of all, we need to tell it what's going on. Do a journal intro. Following is an entry from a microjournal. And we have this concept of fragments. So for each block, we can have different options that are called fragments. I go into detail in a bit, but for now, let's call this first one simple. And then we need an example, an entry we want to experiment with and play around. We could actually add a new block to hard code it, but even better, we can use datasets and data blocks. So let's create a new dataset. It's called journal entries, and that holds some examples. Prepared some here. We can just add a few options so we can see how the thing performs with different entries. And then we go back to the prompt and we can use this data set as part of our prompt. We have data block and select it. And here we can see now that we have the different options that we can swap back and forth. And then some instructions. Which emotions are present in the entry? You can see here, like each of the blocks, we will get automatically the token count and the total one, and then see how much it will cost when we execute this prompt with the given model. To get a better result, you might also want to add some output instructions, like print only emotions as a comma separated list, nothing else. This can also be called simple, I guess. Or maybe let's do unsupervised. I will do a supervised version in a bit. And that's it. It's the the prompt, we can preview it here, how it looks in full. Get also token count. And then we can just execute it and see what it comes up with. Okay, so we get an output which doesn't look even bad. And here on the top we see how the prompt was constructed, which blocks and which fragments we used for this specific output, also which model parameters, and how much input and output tokens we had, and how much the entire thing costs. And now one more interesting part is we can rate this. We can say, for instance, this is a really good one. I like it. And then all the fragments that were used in this prompt that generate this output, you can see this color coding that will represent the quality of it. Let's run it again. Again, another output. Let's see, for instance, this one was bad. We rate it. And you can see this will build up over time, like visual statistics, so that you can immediately see how each block and each fragment performed. Let's do an alternative one here. Detailed. You can copy it. It gives some more instructions. Microjournal is a bullet journal. A focus on a minimalistic writing style. Execute again. And then if you rate this one, you can see we get like statistics for this one as well. Once we have a few options and play around for a while, we can see which one is green, which one is red, and which one performs better. In the bottom, you can also see how much money we spent already in total on requests, how many we sent, and what was the total token count. Great, let's do a supervised version. So instead of letting it come up with its own emotions, I give it a set that it should choose from. And we could hard code them, but again, we can use a data set. Let's do a new one. And I have already a set of emotions here. This is like set 40. If I want to play around with different options, I can say I just use half of them and call this half set, or best of 5. Now it's available here as a data set. You can select it, drag it into place. And here you can see I can now play with the different options to see how the output changes. And let's go with the full set for now. And execute it. And get any output. We can see set 40 was used just like before. You can rate it again. You can see the ratings. One interesting thing might be also if, for instance, I don't want to use a block, I can just remove it, and it will be excluded from the prompt. Okay, so one interesting thing also is we can see this versioning here. Once a fragment was executed and I change it afterwards. Which one do we change? Let's just remove something here. You can see the version changes. And if I execute it again, we see that the version is updated. So we always have full traceability of what happened, which prompt, which block, and which fragment produced which output, and how it performed. We have some options to change the display if this is too cramped for you. Yeah, that's about it for now. I hope you like it. I'm working on cool new things like embeddings, where you can just drag and drop a PDF and use the contents as a context for the prompt, and AI APIs, which will allow you to take the prompt you design and publish it to an API endpoint that you can use directly in your app, where you send, for instance, the entry as a request body, which will be inserted instead of the dataset version, and you get the output back. So this way you build your application, you only drop the API endpoint, and from that point on, never have to touch it again. You just go to Prometheus, update, and play around, and your app will just use the change version without republishing it to the Play Store or something like that. I guess this will be very powerful once it's ready. All right, that's it for now. I'm really excited to see what you guys are building with Prometheus, and yeah, have a good one.